Hello and welcome back. Wednesday night edition of Inside the Headset. Having a little trouble getting a hold of Coach Rankin and Coach Shed Owens. Don't know if they'll join us tonight. If they pop back in on the show, we'll make arrangement shift and bring them right in. But anyway, going to roll down to Bradley County over to Cleveland, Tennessee. Going to talk to the head coach of the Blue Raiders of Cleveland High School, head coach Chandler Tygard. How you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm good, Stork. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Well, lot of things going on at Cleveland. You were running a two-quarterback situation Friday night, and I guess that's the hottest news off your press is you're one of them kind of left, and so talk a little bit about that, and kind of what transpired.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, man. I gotta say first that that quarterback Cash Bandy and his family—they're absolutely wonderful people.
Oh yeah, I mean, I saw where you praised him and you said, heck, he's a great football player and everything. But and who knows? But go ahead, Coach. You got the floor.
Yeah, I mean, so it comes down to you can't say you're about the kids my neighbor's firing up his weed eater here.
Oh, go help him. Go help him, Coach.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't claim on one hand that you're about the kids, and we've had new players come in. You know what I mean? We've had players that have moved into the school that I coach at all the time, right? And so, okay, when one of your players wants to go to another school for a better situation, I don't feel like it's right to get upset if that's the best situation for them. So I love that kid and his whole family. I mean, they've been nothing but great to me. And hopefully the same to them. And, it's a situation to where he could have gone to a couple different places. And, his girlfriend goes to Cleveland, and they love the Cleveland area. And so, it just happened to come up, where they could go to Bradley Central down the road. But what people don't realize is, like, Cash's dad, Nate, I mean, he was college roommates with Coach Floyd. I mean, so they've been buddies for a long time. So it's not like this out of the blue, and they're trying to go to the rival school, and it needs to be this big old story. It is because it's small town football. But at the same time, like, he's going to get more snaps in one game than he was getting with us in 3 games. So it works out well for everybody, and it clears it up for us, and it's going to be good for that kid. And he'll have opportunities to keep playing too.
Well, and, there's a little bit of that's going on here, as you very well know, in Rutherford County. I mean, kids move around, and some go other places, and then they might come back, and then they might go over to another school if they feel like there's an opportunity. If you're running as a 2-quarterback and I'm going to use an example because they're not on our show, but if you're running a 2-quarterback situation at Siegel, and one of them can duck out, the one that feels like he's number 2, and all of a sudden he says, hey, I'm going to Oakland, which is, a bicycle ride. A bicycle ride from
That's the same thing down here. And, I mean, but we've done it everywhere, man. Like, we were fortunate to where, at Blackman we had Jack and Peyton, and they're in the same grade and made it work. And Jack was a Mr. Football finalist, and Peyton won all kinds of all-regional awards and had a college offer to VMI, and now he's getting into coaching. I mean, so it has worked before, but, at the same time, I understand if a parent or a kid says, Coach, I want to get 100% of the snaps, and if I can't offer that to them, then, that's their right to explore other options. So it's not going to upset me if you find something that's a better situation. And if it doesn't upset me or our coaching staff or our players, because our players feel the same exact way, then I know the community gets all up in arms about it, and they don't feel like, they feel like times are changing or whatever. But at the same time, I want what's best for that kid, and I think we settled on that, and it's going to be fine.
Well, and I said this to Kevin earlier, and I was talking to Kevin earlier about this whole thing. If a kid doesn't want to be, if you grew up in a rural area, say like you're in Lincoln County, you're going to have to pack your bags because there's not a bunch of schools around you. You're as they say, you're geographically challenged, and that happens. Yeah. And but if you're in a city, it's got 370,000 people closing in on 400. You got 8 big high schools here, all of them 2,500 students plus. Man, there's going to be some movement. I mean, there's going to be some movement, and that's not only in football, Chandler. That's in all of them. That's in every sport you got up and down at your high school, no matter what it is.
And it's trickling down from college, and that doesn't mean that it's wrong. Like I know a lot of coaches and parents don't want it to be like Florida, to where you play football at one school and basketball at another school and baseball at a third school, and you're constantly moving and going back and forth. And nobody necessarily is advocating for that.
No.
But we do advocate for players having a choice of where they want to play. Because honestly, this has been done before. I remember when Blaine Bishop's son left Brentwood and moved to Independence and played against Brentwood the next Friday. So I mean, this is not new. It's only going to happen more and more often, and I think it's the right thing to do. Like if the kids want to come to Cleveland, it's the same difference as a kid leaving Cleveland. We've had other kids leave Cleveland, and we've had new kids come. So I mean, it works on both ends, and I'm okay with it. I know the landscape is changing, but at the same time, I think kids have always changed schools. Now it's just starting to get more prevalent or more public or whatever reason it is.
Well, Locke was over at Blackman one day, and the next day he was at Riverdale. That's kind of the way it works. And that was years ago, and we witnessed that. And someone told me the other day that Ralph King, who played at Riverdale, he came from Cookeville. So, and
Jawan came from, I think, Franklin County, and then
he came from Germantown. I think he came from Germantown.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I think it was Franklin County, then Germantown, then Blackman, maybe.
Yeah.
I know he's from somewhere down there. And then, just me being at Blackman, we had a kid that came from Siegel, but we, lost a kid to Riverdale. I mean, it's always been going on, and it's not the end of the world. And everybody needs to take a deep breath and say, hey, what's best for the kids?
That's exactly right. Let the kid, because I said this today to Kevin, you're only going to get to play high school football one time. You can't go back and do it. Basketball, baseball, all these sports while you're in high school. You can go back to college, but you can't go back and play high school sports. You got to do it when your time comes.
And Cash, my kid, our quarterback, last year, he lost last year because he tore his ACL week 2 in the McMahon County game. So he didn't play as a junior. So if he can get 100% of the snaps as a senior, then who am I to tell him that that's the wrong decision if, we all know it is. So it's all good on our end.
Good. I'm glad.
We're moving on to
listen, I'm glad you got the opportunity to talk about it on our show, get it out there and get rid of it. That's what you want to do. It settles the score. Let's talk about McMahon. First off, you won Friday night, and you beat Clinton 36-13. What'd you find out?
Well, Clinton was they were obviously much better coach than they were the year before. They've got a new coach, and I think he's doing a great job. So offensively, defensively, they gave us a challenge all the way up to the end of the third quarter. Basically it was a one-score game, it was a two-score game, and they're driving at the end of the third quarter. They've got an ability to make it a one-score game. We get a goal line stop on the 1-yard line, and then we drive the ball down the field, actually chewing clock, to break it out into a 3-score game. It kind of finished the game off. But the wide receiver I told you about last week, he had about 120 receiving yards on a couple catches, and he was as good as advertised. And, it was not an easy game for us, but the stadium atmosphere was electric. It was the biggest the student section had been in many years. The LED lights were working and going off on touchdowns, and I mean, heck, they were making those things flash for every reason they could find during the game. We had the speakers going, and everything worked right. The jumbotrons getting used correctly, and we're showing, the coin toss up there and instant replays and all these neat little things. So we really cranked up the stadium atmosphere, and I think it was a wonderful experience for the kids on Friday. But now we're going to, a blue-collar, hardcore area, and they're coming off a massive win. They just beat Bradley Central, which is their biggest rival, and they haven't beat Bradley and Cleveland in the same year in a decade. So they're fired up for us to come to town, and it should be a physical and really good game on Friday.
What you like about them on video? What do they like to do?
Man, so they are huge. So they have a brand new state-of-the-art weight room, and they love to eat them weights, man. So their kids are very big, very strong. I mean, their running backs squat 600 pounds. Their linemen are the strongest in the state, arguably. They have one of the top linemen in the state, Camden Goforth, who's a junior. He's a highly recruited kid. And so they run the ball. I mean, they've got one running back named Tarzan, another running back named Peanut, and Peanut squats 600 pounds, and he runs 11.3 in the 100-meter dash. So they've got some dudes, man. So it's going to be a big challenge to stop the run. We're a little banged up from the Clinton game, so we got to manage that. And it's playing at their place. It's on natural grass. We like to go fast, but at the same time, we got to, consider how we're going to stop them from. They ran the ball 50 times last Friday, so we got to be thinking about how we're going to be prepared for that.
Well, you definitely don't want to go 3 down and out and turn it right back over, because it sounds to me like they're going to be, they're going to, if they're running the ball that much, do they run it fast, or they run it slow, or they methodical?
No, they're very methodical. They chew the clock. They're a spread offense. They've actually opened it up a little bit. They've got a sophomore quarterback, this big, tall kid. He can run really well and pull it on the zone read. But any team that plays us, typically they try to hold the ball and go slow because we're going pretty quick and we can throw it around. And so they're going to do that for sure. McMahon has a very good home winning percentage, and Cleveland historically does not do as well at McMahon as we do at home. And so, it is a long-standing rivalry game, and, they definitely are going to be fired up to play us. And, we just know we're going to have to overcome everything that we've been hearing this week and all the adversity we're going to get on Friday. And, we've been preaching to our kids all off season that it's going to be a lot of adversity and resiliency. And so we're going to need that to come to play Friday night.
Coach, good luck on the road. We'll talk to you next week, and we'll be following your game and see how you come out Friday night against McMahon on the road.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you guys.
All righty. See you. Bye.
All right.